People say, I got to take time for myself, and they go running. I say, you took time for running. You didn't take time for yourself. They say, I got to take time for myself, and they go read a book. I said, you took time for the book. Don't go through anything. Go through blankness, quiet, peace. Go through your irritation, your angers, your fidgetiness. Go through all of that. Don't use somebody else to stop you from doing it. If you want salvation, you have to go for it. Now, taking time with yourself doesn't really have to have a lot of quantity on it. 15 minutes. Well, if you touch back to yourself, and that self is aware of you, and you're aware of it, and you become one, 3 seconds would be a long time. It's often been referred to by the ancients as the cosmic second. It's a second, but it actually feels like a cosmic thing. It's like space and time goes on for centuries. Therefore, that type of activity would be much more valuable than sitting doing spiritual exercises in an attempt to make some sort of contact that's going to be haphazard. And I used to say 15 minutes of spiritual exercises will do it. And people wouldn't do 15 minutes. So I said, make it a half hour, make it an hour, make it 2 hours. In 2 hours, we started getting people who were getting 5, 10, 15 minutes. When you've done it, there is a contact. When you're doing it, that means you're working towards being that. Someone asked me, are you a Christian? I said, oh my God, no, I wouldn't be so presumptuous to think that I am a Christian. And they said, well, why not? I said, wow, do you know, that's an extremely difficult, high level of consciousness to be. I said, can you imagine not judging, loving your neighbors as yourself, loving God with your body, mind, and soul, taking care of yourself? Can you imagine doing all those things that a Christian is to do that they be a Christian? They said, what are you? I said, I'm working at it. And it's a full-time job. The same thing would be when you've done the SEs, then it'd be like saying being a Christian. And if you're not, haven't done them in terms of made a complete contact, then you're working at your SEs. It's like I'm still sitting in my SEs. Maybe we should call them STs, soul transcendences. Because it's not a hard thing to do. If a person does spiritual exercises, and in that statement is contact with the soul and transcendence, that works off karma. If they do spiritual exercises and in that they don't make soul contact and don't work off and don't reach into it, become aware of it, they haven't worked off karma. The SEs has been a pain in the butt. It's getting calluses on your rear end. So when I use the word SEs, I'm talking about the fait accompli, where you have done that. You are doing all those things. It's like breathing in and breathing out. Otherwise, it's an attempt at breathing. It's an attempt at it. It's a process of attempting to do, to find out. And in that, it's just time-consuming. I think the preparation of ourself in the heart is extremely valuable. Finding the time to be with yourself should be a primal law like gravity. If you don't take that time, you can't get up and go. It's like gravity is there, and we can ignore it, and it still has its effect. So doing spiritual exercises, if it were laid in as a primal command, that'd be fine. But that rules out then choices, and choices rules out randomness, and randomness rules out freedom of thought and action. And in ruling out those, you have no chance for liberation. So you have to have all the defaults in there, everything set up to defeat you, to end up with spiritual liberation. It's not easy. I've never told anybody it is. I just said, this is the easiest, fastest way I know of to go into yourself and awaken to that. The nice thing about it is that's an awakening to the self in everybody. It actually becomes a great sense of self-esteem for all of you and your friends because you see the Spirit in them and you treat them with that reverence. It looks, in a sense, self-effacing, but it is not. It is knowing that what you have is in everyone and they're going to come into it. And it's just you're in it. And if you flaunt it, then you place the flaunting between you and the Lord. And then you start to have flaunting and you lose that spiritual contact. And you can recontact it though. Take time to go in and bypass all that and say, I forgive myself for this. Forget it, forgive it. Make the contact, bring out the energy again. Is that clear?